everyone, welcome to a new video. I have been waiting for the last book of the Last Hours by Cassandra Clare to come out so I can binge read the three, because from what I've heard throughout the years about this series is that they're very good, very addictive, and you want to know what happens next. So when I wanted to start reading it last year, I decided to wait until the third one would come out so I could read them all. And it's now out. It has come out on the 31st of January of 2023. And so I'm ready for it. I have all of them on my Kindle. I'm gonna start obviously by Chain of Gold, which is the first one. And I'm very excited to get to them and see if it's worth the hype or if it's disappointing, like unfortunately I found some of the other series. Don't attack me. I didn't think they were bad. I actually quite enjoyed them. But Cassandra Clare is very hyped up and they were good books, but not my favorites. And so I'm hoping to see if this series changes my mind. Let's get into what this series is about. Shadowhunter's world is quite famous. There's a film. There are 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 books. There are already 15 books out from this series. You have the TV show and a movie. In this Shadowhunters world, you have a lot of different types of creatures. And the Shadowhunters are a community of warriors that dedicate their life to fighting demons. This series of books starts with 2 trilogies. So the first 2 trilogies are set about 10 years ago, so it's 2007 to 10, something like that. And then you had another trilogy that is set in the 1800s, I think, or the end of the 1800s. And then you have another trilogy set after the first 2 trilogies. And now this one is set right after the third trilogy, which is set in the late 1800s. So this one is set in the early 1900s, following kind of the descendants of that trilogy set in the late 1800s. The third trilogy published is called The Infernal Devices. And now the fifth trilogy in this world is called The Last Hours. Oh my god. And it's a few years after that third one, The Infernal Devices. I hope this is relatively clear. And yes, we're following the kind of descendants from some of the people from that earlier trilogy. Now, let's get into the actual synopsis of the first book, which is Chain of Gold. I'm gonna read it because it's gonna be easier. Cordelia Carstairs is a shadowhunter, a warrior trained since childhood to battle demons. When her father is accused of a terrible crime, she and her brother travel to London in hopes of preventing the family's ruin. Cordelia's mother wants to marry her off, but Cordelia is determined to be a hero rather than a bride. Soon, Cordelia encounters childhood friends James and Lucy Herondale and is drawn into their world of glittering ballrooms, secret assassinations, and supernatural salons, where vampires and warlocks mingle with mermaids and magicians. All the while, she must hide her secret love for James, who is sworn to marry someone else. But Cordelia's new life is blown apart when a shocking series of demon attacks devastates London. These monsters are nothing like those Shadowhunters have fought before. These demons walk in daylight, strike down the unwary with incurable poison, and seem impossible to kill. London is immediately quarantined. Trapped in the city, Cordelia's friends discover that a dark legacy has gifted them with incredible powers, and forced a brutal choice that will reveal the true cruel price of being a hero. Moving on, I'm very excited to start this video. Welcome, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoy this vlog. I'm basically just going to be sitting down and reading these books for the next week. So we'll see what happens. And yeah, I'll see you in a bit. Hi, welcome to day 2 of this vlog. I am 35% into this book. I still have 12 hours of reading left. We're still in this introductory phase of the book. I'm really enjoying the setting of very early 1900s London. The characters seem quite good. There are a lot of them. So yesterday evening, I was about to go to bed and I was just starting to get a bit confused about all of these characters. And so I sat down really quickly and did like the family trees to try and figure out who everyone was. I have a little record that I could then reference. But yes, I already really like Cordelia, Lucy, and James. The others I haven't really gotten to know that well yet. The writing is obviously very good, but I think one interesting thing I found about this book is the way, the structure of the book. It's very much episodic. So every chapter is like an episode of a series, and within the chapter you have different scenes jumping from character to character and location to location, and you even sometimes have like little snippets of something else happening in another location that then furthers the plot. You know, it develops the plot or it informs you of something that's going to be happening in the future. But yeah, I found that quite cool, and if there was ever an adaptation, it's going to be relatively easy to just transform it into a series because it's already structured that way. And it's been done very well because you don't even confuse the characters when you're jumping from one perspective to another. You know exactly who you're following, or at least for now I haven't been confused. And I think the beginning of a book is when you get confused between the characters because you don't know them very well yet. And yeah, I'm very curious to see where this is going. We have a few mysteries already kind of appearing, and something big is coming. You do have a few pieces of the puzzle already. You know, James' abilities and Lucy's abilities. And there's a mystery surrounding Grace Blackthorne, definitely. But you still don't really know where it's gonna go. So I'm very curious to see what's gonna be happening in this book. And yeah, I think that's my update for right now. I'm gonna make some tea. I did work in the morning a bit and I had lunch, and so now I'm just gonna make a tea and I'm just gonna sit down here and read for the afternoon and evening and hopefully get to at least 50% today, because I've only read 35% yesterday. This is not good progress. They are big books, so I'm not super mad about that, you know. Let me check. Yeah, it's like 600, almost 600 pages. So it will take a while, but I have 2 to fully read and then hopefully get to the 3rd one within this vlog. We'll have to see if it gets really long or not, but yeah, I'll be here tomorrow. So it's now the next day. I, as you saw, spent the whole afternoon and evening reading. I had some copious amounts of tea, and then I woke up this morning and I continued reading in bed for a while. And it's now almost lunchtime, and we're in a part of the book. We're in that part of the book where things are happening, so I'm dying to just go back to reading. But let me give you an update. I'll be honest, today's looking a bit depressing. So I feel a little bit low, but I'm quite excited to continue reading. I think it's just going to be a cozy day of really no work and reading. So let me update you. One thing that I'm loving about this book is the characters and their relationships. I feel like with her previous series, I felt like they were all being a little bit overdramatic all the time. I understood what they were feeling, but I still just felt like it was, a bit too much. It didn't need to be, it needed a bit of humor. And I feel like this one is bringing a little bit more humor into the mix. I feel like some characters, even if it is a protection or a defense mechanism, they are quite humorous. You also have more characters, so more opportunity to connect with the characters, and I feel like I'm quite invested in the lives of these characters. It also feels like a real story, like this world with these characters could have actually existed. They are relatable, and their relationships are relatable, and the drama between them and the familial relationships are relatable. It feels more real than her previous series. You do still have, obviously, the whole demonic plot, which is unfurling, and it's starting to get a bit interesting. You still don't know how some characters that are a bit of a mystery relate to this whole demonic activity. It could be something separate, but it could be connected. But it still feels like a kind of slice of life, even though obviously their lives are quite a bit more exciting than what we're used to in the real world. But one thing that I have observed is that Cassandra Clare is really good at cliffhangers. And I haven't even finished the first book. She has a lot of small cliffhangers that really keep you gripped and wanting to turn the page. For example, interrupted conversations, or something happening right at the end of a scene, and then it changes to a different scene and you're like, oh my god, but what the hell just happened? I need to know. I'm really, really enjoying this book. This one is definitely a good young adult fantasy series, and I feel like I have rambled enough. So I'm now going to make some healthy lunch and sit down to read for the rest of the day again. guys, so it's now the next day. I was hoping to do an update yesterday evening, but unfortunately it took me a lot longer to finish the first book than I was expecting, and I really only finished at 11 o'clock yesterday. And then I started Chain of Iron, and I am like 14 pages in. So I really didn't I didn't really read that much. I just started it before I fell asleep. Today I'm here to give you the last updates on the first book. It was a really good book. I think I'll give it, 4.5 stars is solid. There were a couple of things that I didn't think were perfect about this book. That's why I'm giving it 4.5. But it was really, really good. So, let's talk about what I liked first and then what I didn't like. I really, really love the characters. As I've said before, I think my last update was mostly about the characters. I really like the structure of the book. The atmosphere and the setting were great. The writing is obviously always good, so there's a tick on that. The plot was quite realistic for this world and these characters. It felt like a good continuation from the Infernal Devices, while including different things. And actually, as I said in previous updates, I felt like it was more real because of that. Moving on to the things that I didn't really enjoy. There is one part of the plot that annoys me, and I think Cassandra Clare always does this, unfortunately, which is she makes it super personal for the main characters. It's always about their family history and something that they have in them that they can't control, but they still have to fight this bad guy or they're gonna kill these main characters specifically. I'm not sure if it is she does this because she wants us to root for these characters more and love them more because they have these kind of quirks about them that make them special. But actually, I would have preferred if there wasn't this like connection directly between the bad guy and the main characters in every single story that she creates. And I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give spoilers, but that always really annoys me. Like, why couldn't they just be heroic by themselves? You know, there are demons attacking and like there's a bigger plot at play, but it doesn't have to do with the main characters. You know, they're just there because they are soldiers and they're heroes and they want to do the right thing. The other thing that annoyed me a bit is the climax. So the climax in this book, and I've seen this with other books from Cassandra Clare as well. The climax in this book is around 70% of the book. So at least 150 pages before the book ends normally. And so you have the climax, something big happens. And then normally in other books, at this point, you're kind of like, okay, so they're now just going to wrap up the whole thing and we're done. In her books, every time that the big like fight scene happens, normally it's a fight scene, you then still have 150 pages worth of plot. It's not just wrapping up some bows, it's introducing new things. It's just creating a whole new plot after this climax. You know, new things happen and are wrapped up after the main climax. I don't know, it just feels like too much. Every time I'm looking at the percentage and thinking, when is this going to end? I've read some of her books on audiobook, and I remember just kind of spending the last hours just thinking, okay, it's about to end, right? It's about to end now. It's about to end now. And it would never end. And so I think that's one thing that is not necessarily a bad thing, but it personally annoys me a bit. And now going back to the characters, just to finalize, as I said multiple times already, I love these characters. Lucy is amazing. Anna is great. All the boys, they're just so lovable. Jesse is a character I'm very intrigued about. I want to know more about him, but I really like him already. But then you have Cordelia. I love Cordelia. She is amazing, but she's way too good. She's the classic, too good to be true. This girl does no wrong. How is it possible that she is so perfect? She's strong-willed. She is super brave. She's beautiful. She's kind. She's super observant and so kind of knows what other people are thinking and how to respond to them. She's intelligent. She can spot like plots happening really quickly, and she kind of understands what's happening before anybody else. Just way too perfect. I think that's all I have to say. I really enjoyed the book. I gave it 4.5 stars, but it did do two things that bothered me quite a bit, especially the climax, and then it never ends. Having seen how long the new book is, I'm a little bit afraid of that, because I feel like I'm going to spend hours and hours and hours reading this book. Actually, the Kindle tells me how many hours I'm going to take reading this book. And it's telling me that I will spend 20 hours reading this book. So I'm excited to know what's going to be happening. I'm really excited, but also I'm dreading having to spend 20 hours reading this book. And then there's the new one. But yes, positive thinking. It's going to be amazing. This book is going to be even better than the first one. And I'm going to spend some amazing cozy days just reading this. But yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do today apart from reading. I may make a tea or a hot chocolate or some food, person has to eat. And yeah, those are my plans for today. Read until I flop over and die. See you later! Hi, welcome to a new day. This wasn't supposed to be like this, but actually it's been very consistent. Every morning I give you an update, and then I work and read throughout the day, and then I give you an update the next day. But yes, so now I am at 30% of this book. It says I have 14 and a half hours left of reading, and I'm at page 181. I think it's around 650, this one. And I did see that the next one is almost 800 pages, which is getting me scared, and actually just made me figure out that I won't be able to read it for this vlog because it's already quite long, and I am going on a big trip in just a few days, so I will only really have time to finish this one, unfortunately. And so yes, let's talk about what has been happening. As with the other one, I'm really liking this book. I don't really have any complaints. There is one storyline that I understand why it's necessary and it makes the whole story kind of come together. It would be really easy and quick to wrap it all up if this didn't exist. It really just keeps the story going. But there is this storyline that is annoying me a bit in the best way possible. Like I kind of want it to be there so it creates this tension, but also it's really irritating. And that is the whole thing around James' bracelet. I'm not gonna say any more. I think it's pretty obvious since the beginning of the first book that there is something around this bracelet. But yes, this book also has, because we have a big cast of characters, this is also not a spoiler. This book also has a arranged marriage, and I'm actually quite excited for it. I feel like this one, comparing it to the first one, has some more YA tropes going for it. Not only the arranged marriage, but also there's this convenient situation that happened where all of the relevant adults that could be helping these kids just very conveniently had other things to do and had to be in other places. And so I feel like it is falling into a couple of tropes, but it's not annoying me whatsoever for now. So yeah, I think that's it for this update. I'm loving the book. I am itching to just continue reading it. But as always, I do need to do a little bit of work. I have been working on this vlog for almost a week now, and I've been trying to share my days between reading, updating you, and working. So I guess I'm just going to continue to do that. And so I'll see you tomorrow for another update. Hopefully I'll be at least halfway through this book. But yes, I'll see you tomorrow then. Welcome to the end of the vlog. So we are traveling to Italy in 2 days. So today's Monday, we're traveling on Wednesday in the morning. And I have kind of started packing really lightly, but I need to really pack and organize the house tomorrow. I'm going to finish the vlog here, having read the first book and started the second. This isn't what I wanted. I wanted to have read the 2 books before my trip. It took me a lot longer to read them than I was anticipating, and I did have a lot of work to do, not only to prepare for the trip, but also to make sure there was content available on my Instagram, but here as well, for the 16 days we're going to be away, which is almost 3 weeks. So there was a lot of content I needed to prepare. This vlog will only be able to go up after we come back, which is fine, you know, it's fine. There's really nothing I can do. I'm gonna be having the best time in Italy, hopefully. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it wasn't too repetitive, and we'll see each other in the next one. Have a nice rest of your day. Please like, share, and comment about what you're thinking, not only about this vlog, but the other ones I'm posting. And we'll see each other next time.